Hey everybody, it's me, Kenny, and I am really excited about this episode, so I'm going to try and keep this intro brief. This one is myself and my friend Chris Z, known to some as CZ, and I've been looking forward to doing this one for a while now. His own podcast, which can be found at halfwayhousemusic.com or SoundCloud, of course, /halfwayhousemusicgr, is coming to an end soon, but you should check it out because there's something new rising from the ashes of the Halfway House. I'm going to let him tell you all about that. As always, music on the podcast is original and recorded by my friend Eric at SoundCloud as well. Eric Razkowski, Raczkowski, and you should definitely check it out. So, without further ado, the Rushouse Radio Hour, Episode 4.
There was a guy with a machine to transmit his ideas. Now his thoughts are infecting everybody's ears. The Rushouse Radio, Rushouse Radio, Rushouse Radio, Rushouse Radio.
I might just cue up some music, just the end of some music, just so I get the flow again.
Oh, absolutely. By all means.
You know how it is. By the way, I might as well take this time to recommend an album.
Absolutely.
It's not out yet, but I'm gonna plug it anyways.
What is it?
Because you can go and listen to his last album.
The
band name is called Cemeteries.
Okay.
But it's really just this guy that uses that as his moniker. And his last album, The Wilderness, was one of my favorite albums of that year, and I just discovered it like the last couple of weeks of that year, and it's just one of those that chill out under the red lights, or it's a good headphone album, throw on the headphones and just like lose yourself in it. And same thing like with his new album. I harassed him a little bit, and he sent it to me early.
Oh, that's awesome.
I feel like the cool kid.
Yeah.
And so I've listened to it probably like 20 times. Like I've put it on repeat 3 times in one night before. It's one of those that, just kind of like I said, like we were talking about earlier, about, let's make sure we're recording, all this awesomeness, make sure it's recording. But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about spending that time with your brain, really. Yeah. And see where the ride takes you, just because, hanging out with your brain can be fun. At least I think so.
Once you get used to it, once you make friends with your brain,
right,
it's amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, brain, you're actually not so bad after all, And so you start accepting your anxieties, and you start accepting that your brain is weird, because we're all weird. Mm-hmm. And, and that's the thing, what sometimes people don't realize. It's like other people think the same weird shit as you.
Yes.
It's okay, like, if your brain goes to a dark place, because, we all go there. It's not like any of us are, I shouldn't say any of us, but certainly some people do. Yes. But it's nothing, you're going to act out on. It's just like, the brain is just it's a wonderful thing. Yes. It's an amazing thing, and it's just impressive what it can do, really.
Something that I loved getting a name for it was, have you ever read anything about invasive thoughts?
I have not.
It's that thing of like, you're in a great conversation with someone, you're having a great time, it's like, you're really just, this is great, it's fantastic, and out of nowhere you get, what if I punched that person in the face?
Oh, yeah.
What if I did that?
Right.
And I read a whole article about like these invasive thoughts that nobody knows where they come from. They pop up, and you're forced to sit there thinking, I don't want to punch him in the face.
Well, you kind of do. Because when I'm waiting on a table, I go, I kind of want to slam this guy's face into the table. Like, how would he react? How would people around me react?
Yeah.
Like,
What would happen?
We used to, I won't specify names because it is kind of a dark place, but we would sit there and have conversations at, our local watering hole and talk about how many people do you think we could take out before people took us out, just things like that.
How long would the shock last if people just...
Right.
What?
Yeah.
They're doing this?
Yeah. Could I take out, 10 people before anyone noticed? We were looking at things on the wall we could use. And like...
Tracking it like your pathway to the door, how you can...
Right.
Yeah.
Right. People may think I'm a mean, dark, angry person, and then I should be careful saying those words, but I would never...
You never do it. They just
pop
up.
Yeah. And if it, if my brain got that far, then I would be some sort of schizophrenic, and hopefully I would be on medication.
Yeah, but it's nice to know that
invasive thoughts. What's it called?
Invasive thoughts.
Yeah,
yeah. It's nice to know it's actually a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought maybe we were going to get into discussion of convo overlaps, like you're having several conversations going on in your head. And somehow they overlap. Just
I
like
know exactly
reading two books at the same time kind of thing.
But then all of a sudden 10 minutes pass and you realize you've been in debate with 3 people, but you're the only one in the room.
Right. Right?
Hey.
You somehow won and lost the argument.
Yeah, exactly. You're sitting there just feeling defeated and justified at the same time.
Right.
It's really strange.
So for you, like, when you're having these convo overlaps and you get to a place of where you've made a decision and you're happy about your decision and you feel good about it, do you have a go-to place in your brain, like you're on a mountaintop, you're standing at the foot of the ocean just going I mean, is there a place that your brain goes, like fantasy world, like the sense of accomplishment?
That's
really it's
funny.
a little cliche for me, but
No.
it makes sense that I would be on top of a mountain.
Not at all. No, that makes sense. I don't actually have like a physical...
my arm around my beard, just going, we did it.
We did it, buddy.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. That's a funny thing. I'm gonna have to think about that. Even when I get to that point, like successfully finish that inner monologue conversation, it's more of I'm actually trying to get better about this because it drives me crazy. Where, all right, that's done. I've gotten to my point. Now I'm going to backtrack the entire thing and and see how I got to that decision and tear apart every little thing. I'm like, can I just be happy with the fact that I came to a conclusion?
Right?
No, never. Not at all.
Because your brain likes to mess with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like your own older brother. Your brain is sometimes,
Oh,
just always
God.
Poking you and prodding you and making fun of you.
That's the perfect way to put it. Yeah.
Like, if at least you're willing to accept your anxieties and the things that are going on in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what it's like, and you just kind of got to laugh about it.
Once you make friends with your brain.
Mm-hmm. There's no end to the fun, really.
Yeah.
I don't think myself, but my other part of the brain thinks otherwise. Like, this is not fun. Why are we hanging out? I don't even like you.
It does sometimes feel like there's like 3 different people living in your head.
Right.
Well, there's 2 people living in your head, and then there's you out interacting
deciding
with
which one is living right now.
Yeah,
outside
exactly.
of your head.
Yeah. It's weird. It's almost like you can almost see the different versions of who you are in your mind.
Well, that's the thing too. Is like you know a little bit about this. Like working in the service industry, there's certainly different. Like even within that Chris, there's 2 Chris's.
Yeah, right.
There's the asshole Chris that's angry about everything and bitches and whines about everything. But I mean, I think people would be amazed at what I'm like outside of work and
people that only know you in the
within the work. Yeah, within the service station. Coming back from a table that's full of a bunch of jerks that's not happy that we have Pepsi instead of Coke. That sort of thing.
No, I know. It's a funny thing. Like for me, this is kind of off subject, but again, I'll bring it back around.
Always do for full circle key.
And no, in my it's just kind of I don't want to say mantra, but kind of a thing that popped in my head for this year is, and it's kind of a joke, but it's like all I've ever wanted in life is to be happy, and I've tried everything except trying to be happy.
Right.
So it's like it's a new thing for me. Like just always be excited about something, always be looking forward to doing something, always have a project going. But it's funny because I go to work, and it's not that I leave that at home, but I go to work and all I want to do is do the job. I'm not like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. I'm like, I go to work, I do the job, I do it well, and then I get paid and go home.
Right.
And so this version of me that's like excited about this and wants to do that, want to talk to everybody and do stuff, doesn't really happen at work.
Right.
And I'm kind of realizing, like, I guess you could say I'm an uptight dick at work.
Right. As some have
as some might say.
As some might say. Those who maybe wear their sunglasses at night might say that.
But
yeah.
But
yeah.
But
yeah. That's a great mantra, and that's something like I take a lot of notes in my phone, and one of the things that I noted was just enjoy each moment for what they are. like, you know, what, even if it's the most mundane thing.
Yes.
And, you know, if you can embrace that attitude as often as possible.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just there's so many little nuances to life that are just so spectacular that I'm thankful that I feel like I'm very good at observing and appreciating like the nuances and just the small things. And I mean, just like yesterday when we were sitting around and Ted telling us these stories about how, I don't know, he got attacked by a bird, he got slapped on the leg by a dude, he got touched on the shoulder, you know, in one of those tap on the shoulder, the opposite shoulder, and you turn around, you know? And then he also got in the middle of like this empty parking lot.
You came at me pretty fast, bro.
Yeah, you were coming at me, bro. You were what was it? You're coming at me.
I think it was you came up on me pretty fast.
And these 4 things have happened to him, and like the fact that you can like laugh about those little things, like I don't know. I was in tears last night, and the same thing when you're talking about. I'm fine. I just think you're an uptight dick. Like, and I love how you're like, I think you'll appreciate this. Like, you thought of me immediately.
Oh, God, I know.
But that's just it, you know? And, you know, that's, you know, I know, like, again, I don't want to sound like a life coach, but that's, you know, like I said, just sitting there and just, you know, decompressing, I think is just an important part of life. And I don't think enough people do that. They busy themselves with looking at their phone and just, you know, get to the point where they're just using their face to scroll through things and liking it, and just like, or their tongue, and it's just because they're such a zombie, or just
absolutely.
even like I like a good TV show, but you know, there's just something about sitting there and just, you know,
from an outside perspective, you're literally just sitting there watching.
Right.
If you turn the TV off, which I mean defeats purpose,
Right.
but then it's still just. You're sitting in a room,
Right.
doing nothing,
Right.
Essentially, I love a good TV show.
I do too.
But
I appreciate I appreciate just sitting on the porch and listening to music, or just sitting around in the evening and listening to music, and just, you know, like I said, hanging out with my brain. Hashtag hanging out with the brain.
I so get that. Yeah, and it's another thing about. I can't remember what you said to make me think of this exactly, but it's like I think you and I are similar in the way where we have a tendency to be like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? All right, now I want to go do this. Now, why am I not doing anything? Why am I not doing that right now?
Right.
You know, and it's like, it almost becomes frustrating, and it's kind of, once you can kind of reconcile that, you can be like, I'm going to do that.
Right.
It's going to be sweet, but right now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I'm trying to, I don't know what the proper verbiage is for it, but I always, like, you know, I mentioned before about sitting around and listening to some stand-up. I listened to this comedian. So AV Club has this list of the best albums just in general, and they used the best stand-up so far this year. And it's a stand-up comedian from Chicago. I believe it was, at least I think it was recorded in Chicago. I'm pretty sure he's from Chicago. But he had experienced several deaths in his family and divorce. And he got up there and talked about it. And it's just absolutely hilarious and very uncomfortable. And, you know, it takes a while to, you know, settle in and get comfortable with some of the stuff he's talking about. But, I mean, he is talking about life. And at the end of it, and hopefully I'm not ruining it, but at the end he talks about, because his brother was one of those people that had passed. And he's, you know, cleaning up his brother's stuff, and he was going through some of the papers, and he saw something that his brother had written down. And it was these words. I hope I'm getting it right. I wish somebody had told me in high school that hard work makes life easier. And so I've just been, you know, trying to embrace those words and just realize, my relationship with the lady friend takes work, but that hard work pays off because it makes it so much easier.
Yes.
You know, if you're willing to put some time and effort into something, it will make your life easier. And, you know, just even like the little things, like that night specifically, I was like, well, I can make some bullshit nachos, or I can make this nice meal for myself. It's going to take some work, but the payoff from it is just going to be, and I end up making that same dinner for the lady friend, and the next few nights later, just because it was so awesome.
Yeah.
It's like, man, that's my new favorite meal now. And so, you know, not only is that satisfaction, you know, my satisfaction, but that's also my lady friend's satisfaction. Maybe I make that for somebody else. But just listening to those words, you know, and that's, you know, the things that I'm trying to pursue now, like with me moving to Boise, and what I sort of have planned from there. It is just sort of it's gonna take some hard work, but it's just like, I guess for once in my life, I'm willing to work a little bit harder to like taking notes, and that's work. But sitting and trying to plan out the podcast that I have is like, I take a lot of notes and try to have things set up, and but it's requiring work, and like nobody listens to them, but like I appreciate the effort that I've made, and just I feel good about myself afterwards. And so like, I don't know, maybe some of you people can embrace that sort of mantra as well, and but really taking those words to heart and appreciating the effort it requires to do some things and not be so lazy. I
absolutely agree. I think I told you last time when I came to visit you, it was like, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but it was a lot of the drinking I used to do was to kind of stave off thinking too much, stave off anxieties, and once that was taken away, I just kind of left with that, and for quite a while still trying to find another way to push it away and not think about it and do anything, and just do anything to live in a bubble where everything's fine, I promise. Meanwhile, it's all kind of coming down. But then last time I came to visit you, I was talking about how like it was almost like replacing an addiction with addiction to, I don't want to say like self-improvement, but like actually trying to figure out what it is, not that I don't like about myself, but what I want to fix. And like, no, and it sounds ridiculous because there's not really a physical payoff so much, but it's like, it is hard work to change your way of thinking, or to be able to accept these things that
I was kind of wrong about this all the time. I'll tell you one thing that I was wrong about.
What?
So I've been in a relationship for like the past year and a half. It's been absolutely amazing. It just blows me away every day. I told my lady friend the other day, I said, even if you decided, you wanted to break up with me and say F you, I would still want to be roommates with you. Because you bring such joy to my life just hanging out. And like, I'm very anxious to get back to her right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh man. But one thing that I realized is, when, I used to rag on my friends that had girlfriends that would kind of wuss out and whatnot. I shouldn't be saying this. We have to edit this out. But you're always calling your friend a pussy because he can't hang out. But you're like, well, I get it now.
Yeah, like, exactly. Once you're in that position.
Once you're in it, you're just like, oh man, I need to hug and apologize to all my friends. Like, I get it now, dude.
So you don't need to edit that out.
You did want to hang out. Just like, you just knew it was better that you didn't.
No.
But the cool thing is, like, I actually appreciate and enjoy it, and like intentionally hang out with my girlfriend.
Yeah,
like it's not like a forced scheduled thing,
Because in your head back then, it was probably something like, well, what the hell are you guys going to do anyway? It's better than this.
Right.
Better than us hanging out.
Right.
And now you know what the other side of it is. You're like, oh, yeah, that was actually pretty
sweet. So my apologies to my friends and girlfriends over the years.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just on the whole, I really like that hard work makes life better. Makes a better life. I can't remember.
Makes life easier.
Yeah, makes life easier. It's a funny thing, like, because this is something I'm working on, because I do now constantly stay busy. I'm constantly doing something, and for a while, like honestly, a couple months ago, I just started to realize that really was like a new addiction, and no addiction is all good, even if it is super productive. Because I was hitting a point where I was like, I was cleaning the house while I was writing and planning a new podcast and texting these people and filming some stuff. Like, I mean, just from the minute I woke up to the minute I went to bed, I was doing something, because it was like, if I slowed down for a second, out of nowhere, my brain would go, well, don't forget your mom's dead. I'd be like, nope, can't think about that. Got to go back to work. And it was only recently that I'm like, that is absolutely good. I love being productive. But I still can't use that to stave off these thoughts that come in. So I've found a way to do it now. It's like, just watch, and again, going back to TV, watch just a half hour of something funny. Half hour of something funny at the end of the night, and it gets your brain to a nice place where you're not taking things too seriously. And you can let things in.
That's why I like I'll watch at midnight, or I'll listen to a stand-up album, or I'll just watch it. I have the Team Coco app, and you can go through and watch some stand-up. Just 5-minute sets, like to watch a 5-6 minute set before I go to bed, and just make myself laugh. And and just bring that energy to bed is just like so much better. Just because sometimes your brain, wants to rest and your body doesn't. Sometimes your body wants to rest and your brain doesn't.
Which is more often, it seems like.
Right. So if I can go to bed when my brain doesn't want to rest, but I know I should be laying there because my body wants to, I just feel like it helps and sort of encourages just like, you know, a nice relaxed feeling, you know, outside of like some people maybe have a drink or take a toke. But for me, that's what works.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe watching like an internet clip.
Yeah, why not? I got so much joy yesterday out of just the new Batman Superman trailer. It was incredible.
Yeah.
But that's me.
Yeah, things like that, you know?
Yeah, and just ride that joy out. Don't question it. Just
right.
This is fucking awesome.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with me feeling this way.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, and that's another thing, too, is accepting that. Like, there's nothing wrong. I don't care if people are going to make fun of me.
Yeah.
You know? I know. There's nothing wrong with feeling this. Even if it is some guilty pleasure. Like, if you get joy out of that, cool.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I may have an argument, like, if your joy is out of Nickelback, or, you know, you find joy in something like that.
Yeah, but that's different. Those people,
right.
There's something clearly
right.
wrong
Just
there.
like, what? Do you know what you're absorbing? Do you know what your brain is processing by listening to that stuff?
Yeah, exactly. I was at Bitter End the other day working on the comic, and somebody walked up outside with like the stupid kind of mohawk, but not really.
Right.
Sunglasses and a Linkin Park shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, what fucking year is this?
Yeah.
Like, I haven't seen or thought of Linkin Park in, I don't even, since I was in high school.
Those guys actually, just saw something. They are starting up some sort of investment company.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Right?
That is.
All that Linkin Park money.
That's fantastic. You know?
Isn't it weird? Like, it's so much better just having this mic
here,
even though it's not plugged in.
It doesn't matter. There's just something that feels so good about it.
It's 78 degrees outside, feeling warm and sunny here on a Sunday in Grand Rapids at the Rushouse. House.
I was going to add to that.
Weenie in the butt. Incredible. Isn't that what the Family Guy was? Weenie in the butt?
Something like that. Yeah.
All right. I mean, that's one of my favorite things to do is just either have an announcer voice or like reading Netflix descriptions of movies in like some sort of accent.
Yeah.
Or just giving it the radio voice to the descriptions of TV shows or certain plots. It just brings me great joy. And it brings those around me great joy.
It does. I've always liked watching baseball with you and Pete.
I'll give you a for instance here because during our break I was busy trying to figure out this whole apartment process and see I'm leaning into the mic.
I was gonna say you're
leaning into the mic.
I'm talking into the microphone with no cord coming out of it.
That's neither here nor there. So you know, this whole process of finding apartment, which isn't the easiest thing to do when you're across the country so you can't see anything. You go going by pictures, and the housing market is just very hot, as they say, out in Boise, and so it's just like you're competing with 20 people immediately. As soon as it's posted, there's 20 other people trying to approaching with the same strategy as you are. Like, I'm gonna be there on there every 10 minutes on Zillow, and I'm gonna be that guy. But one thing that's lacking, and I don't know if it's the Idaho way, is not providing pictures of places. It's just like, you know, there's a lot of relying on faith and good faith and honest people. Like, hey, here's this apartment. And I think there's an honesty and earnest to these postings where they don't provide pictures.
Yeah,
it's not like I don't think they're lazy, even though, like, for me the other day I'm in my basement and I'm like going through stuff. And I'm like, oh, I can put this on Craigslist. I can take pictures. Like, I did it all from my basement on my phone. So it's like, it's not that difficult to post pictures. But this is one thing that I enjoyed reading the other day. Lawn care provided by owner. Snow removal provided by tenant. Here's his description. Ideal bench location. 1 bedroom, 1 bath apartment with living room, gas heat, and stove. Water, sewer, and trash is included in the rent. Tenant pays gas and electric.
Misplaced exclamation marks.
Yeah, right. Right. But there's such an honesty and earnestness to that, like, and that's why I'm looking forward to Cat fight.
That's
Bat
happens.
fight. That's why I'm looking forward to living in,
Okay.
in Idaho. Is that sort of just those sort of people,
Yeah.
you know? And I by no
Simple,
means
honest.
right. And I don't mean that in an insulting way. I mean
Yeah.
that in just an appreciative way.
Maybe they're just still afraid that a photograph will steal part of your soul.
Right.
You never know what you're
Right.
looking into.
Exactly. What movie is that?
I don't even know. I've just always heard that.
Well, I mean, it's a remake. It's a Japanese horror film reference, I think, isn't it?
It
was remade. Am I wrong?
I have no idea. I've just always heard that as like kind of a old-fashioned cliche.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, the wives' tale.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
wives' tale. So, is there anything that you brought up your mom a little while ago? Is there anything any words of wisdom that you didn't realize were words of wisdom at then that you've sort of thought back on and gone, oh wow?
Not really. Like
maybe it's not a question that you can answer off the top of your head, but
the amount of thought, the way you think of every little thing, like that spans over your entire life after something like that,
right,
is incredible. Like I'm trying to stay grounded with it because I don't want to give, obviously I want to give power to the things that she said, the memories I have, but I don't want to put too much weight on anything because it'll just drive you crazy in the end.
Yeah.
It was a weird process her last days. There weren't really many actual conversations and stuff like that. I don't know if I had any.
So that's
what I came out of it with. Here's the biggest piece of truth, I guess, that I came out of it with was, and this is something I think a lot of people have already gotten to, and some people just inherently know, but this was a big revelation to me that, like, there is no way that life is supposed to be. You always have a picture in your head of what you think your life is supposed to be that you're working towards.
You drive yourself mad with that sort of thought process.
Yeah, it doesn't exist because in one spring, in the spring of 2013, every idea I had of my life growing older was gone. My mother being a grandmother, even and everything attached to that. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, you still have like the image of that life in your head,
right?
But it literally can never exist now.
Right.
Yeah, and
like
you just settle into that,
right? Because this is your life now.
Yeah, and this is what life is,
right?
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's not. I don't think at first that might be like kind of a depressing revelation, but in reality, I don't think it is at all.
The more you accept that in those words, like I mean this in general, like I don't know. Things sort of weights are lifted off your shoulder.
Absolutely.
You just, I don't know, you just feel at ease and more at peace with things. And that's why, I talk about things like, just appreciating moments and whatnot and little nuances. And I keep bringing that word up. I need a thesaurus. But that's just it. It's like, and I think I've really gotten to know myself more in the past year or two than I have previously 30 plus years.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's just listening to people listening to conversations, podcasts and whatnot. It sounds weird, but listening to two people talk about life, especially comedians.
No, comedians I think are the best place for life wisdom.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy just because you accept your anxieties, or at least you're willing to talk about them. And I think for me, like, I didn't realize that's what it was. I didn't realize what I was dealing with was an anxiety. I thought maybe I'm just an angry person, and I'm really not. Like, I know it. Like, part of it is just, I don't know, I don't want to say a character. Like I'm playing along with people's perception of me.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Because there's entertainment in that, and I think some people are entertained by, this persona that I've created. And sure, it's definitely a part of who I am. But really, it's just like these past couple of years, just being very aware of things, myself, what's going on around me, my interaction, how people are perceiving me.
Yeah.
Just being conscious of that. Not to the point where I'm just like driving myself mad to please people.
Yeah.
But just, I think it's important to be you know, I don't know. I just one thing that's I've always been angry about, and that's just kind of goes back to my days at the Winchester or unnamed bar. And I would get angry about people and the way they parked on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And they would, you know, if they pulled up 2 more feet, 3 more cars could fit there. But
Yeah.
because they were completely oblivious, they were self-absorbed. You know, that's what I get angry about.
Yeah.
Those are the things that get me worked up is people being so self-centered and so self-absorbed and just being, to me, disrespectful and inconsiderate. That's really what I'm getting angry about.
Yeah.
I'm not getting angry about the way somebody parked, per se. It's the fact that person is completely oblivious, like, how their actions are going to... Like, I'm a team player in life. I put my cart back, you know.
Right.
If I can't recycle bottles at the deposit, you know, I can't get my deposit back on bottles, I'll take them home and recycle.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know? I'm not trying to pat myself on the back.
No, but nor should you, because you're just acting as a person should.
Respectful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's just like... So, like, people perceive me as this angry person, but also, like, you know, I don't know. I don't need to get into, like, waiting on people, but maybe that's a whole nother...
I think
whole nother tunnel.
There's something to be said for that, because when you're in the service industry, you have to play a character, no matter what. I think even if you don't mean to, even that's not a conscious thought, you are playing a character.
And it's so funny when people are waiting on me, I just, like, want to call bullshit on this guy's persona. Bullshit on this whole guy. And I see people that I work with too, just like, oh, that's bullshit. Like, you know, and that's the bullshit I hated. It was the bullshitting with, you know, I always joke that, you know, it's so ironic that I work in the service industry because I hate people.
Yeah.
You know, while there is, you know, there's some truth to that.
Understandable.
You know, but you're going to get those people when you work in the service industry. You're going to encounter just awful people.
Naturally.
That are stealing your air.
I think it's funny that if you talk to anybody that says that, like, you know, the general term you hear, I hate people. You know, if you actually ask them why do you hate people.
If I were to ever have a personalized license plate, it would say people suck.
Yeah.
But I think that people with personalized license plate suck.
Yeah,
so,
right?
you know?
But no, I don't think it because I've said that 100 times, but I think if you talk to somebody who says
leaning into the mic.
I think there's so much more, like what you just said. It's not that you hate people, it's that you hate that asshole who's so self-absorbed he can't pull up his car 2 feet.
Right.
And that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
People suck,
but people aren't, that's when people hear me bitch about something insignificant. That's not what they're hearing, though. They're hearing, like, oh, what do you care how the guy parks?
Look at
your car's
CZ
parked just fine,
there.
right? Yeah. It's like, no, you're just missing my comedy. You're missing my comedy. That's all it really is.
Oh no, I know. It's funny. I can't remember even what it was now. So this isn't going to be a great story, but I tried to make a joke to someone. I tried to make like a self-deprecating joke to someone the other day that. In my head, in the moment, I was like, this is hilarious, and they're going to get it because I'm being self-deprecating. I don't really mean it. This is going to be funny. And the response I got was like, it wasn't words. It was basically the look of like, are you okay? I'm like, oh, shit. Yeah, I want to say, they just don't get my humor, but maybe I don't get
That's
my
really
humor.
a loaded question.
Yeah, right?
Right now, within this context, yes, I am okay. Outside of this context, not a chance I'm okay.
And don't worry, I'm not going to go home and be thinking about this interaction for the rest of the day.
Right.
Nothing like that. Okay, see ya. Yeah, I don't know. So, something funny that I just wanted to touch on before we got too far away from it, because it was another funny experience I had recently, and you're talking about... just I don't know how life changes you and characters you play and stuff like that. I had an interaction with an old friend that I didn't even realize at the time I hadn't seen really much since my drinking days at all. And that's neither here nor there. But halfway through, like talking and hanging out, I just had this overwhelming feeling of like, holy shit, you've never met me before,
right?
You know, like
yeah,
and it's a weird. It's just a weird. It was a weird feeling.
I'll tell you something else that is fun though.
Yeah.
Because I had an old high school friend that I hung out with yesterday, and I haven't seen him for I haven't seen him for a few years. And every time I get together with him, Like there was a time in like I think junior high when we were hanging out all the time.
Yeah.
But as we got older and we're going through high school, we just hung out less. We just kind of ran in different circles. But I always just loved sitting down and talking with them, especially like talking with somebody that knew you way back then, because you sort of forget things about yourself. Mm-hmm. And evidently, I've always been a shitting machine. Because somehow he brought it up, like me and shitting, like it was always a thing.
It just goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I guess I've always been very honest about it. Like it's and that's like when people get turned off by those sorts of conversations. Like no, like it's part of being a human.
Yeah,
is disposing of our waste. Mm-hmm. It's a natural process. Like and if we can lessen the anxieties about those uncomfortable situations. Like I remember reading an article, probably on Vice or something. Like people had to quit their jobs because the toilet was right next to their boss's office. Like
that's hilarious.
Yeah, they had to quit their jobs because they got all this anxiety about I have to go do this thing.
Yeah,
that's natural, and it's just like.
But it becomes so much. It is funny to think that like that becomes such a stigma for some people because they're like. What are they thinking? Like nobody else shits?
Right. I'm not trying to be gross, but I'm just like, I guess it goes back to, we all get anxiety, or I think most of us get anxiety about having to go to the bathroom in certain situations.
Yeah.
And it's just like, nah, it shouldn't be that way. Especially like, when I talk, having conversations with people that are in relationships, and it's like taboo for them to maybe, I don't know. Like my boyfriend didn't think I shat for the first 6 months of a relationship. It's like, why? Like,
no shit.
Man, I mean, the situation's uncomfortable enough for yourself, but if you make it more uncomfortable because you can't explain like why you're in this, I'll tell you a story, and you can edit this out. I don't care. I want to tell this story. So, I'm living in Montana, and this news anchor. Happened to be friends with somebody I worked with, and I had mentioned, oh wow, she's very lovely, and so her and I end up hanging out a few times, and one of those times was I don't know, it came to a point where I had to go to the bathroom a lot, and I was very uncomfortable. But we're sitting on our couch, and her bathroom's like 2 feet away, and I'm just like, do I say I'm ill and leave? But like no, like I'm enjoying hanging out with this person, and I don't I'm hoping to kiss her. But
yep.
That's really what it comes down to. And then the story's more boring than I thought. But anyways, I kept drinking lots of water. So like, I have to go to the bathroom again because I'm drinking all this water. It's like, no, I'm slowly releasing like all these horrible things that are inside of me.
I know
because
exactly
I ate a certain brand of pizza that I knew eating the certain brand of pizza was going to require me to be, I don't know, away for a few minutes every few minutes. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. And so it's just like, oh man, like why can't I just be like, hey, this pizza gives me the shits. Like, can we get something else?
Yeah.
Can we order a different kind of pizza? Do we have to have this kind of pizza?
Just to finish off the bathroom conversation.
Hurry now. Have you ever done this? So last night we're hanging out, and you go to say an inside joke, and you realize it's the wrong group of friends that you have the inside joke with.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was going to be like some sort of bathroom reference, and I turned and looked at everybody, and everyone's like not even paying attention. I was like, oh wait, it's my other friends that I was with 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, those other.
Right.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, that's embarrassing. But it's like, hey, you shrug your shoulders and move on.
Exactly.
And I actually enjoy embarrassing myself. I've realized that. Like, I enjoy being vulnerable.
I know what you mean.
Just like
putting yourself out there.
Yeah, and just having those moments of vulnerability. I think it makes you a better person.
I completely agree, and it's funny because getting comfortable with that, getting like almost excited about doing that, doesn't take the anxiety away, but you let it in so much easier. It just goes through you.
And I think that's one reason I love stand-up, and like why I don't want to say pursuing it, but I've certainly put some time and effort into like writing a set or three. I probably have like 2 or 3 sets, and just how my voice has changed since I've started because I'm allowing those vulnerabilities to come out I'm allowing those anxieties to come out, and and again, like listening to other comedians and just like, oh my gosh, I really do have the brain of a comedian. Maybe I'm not funny, but like
you have the brain.
I have the brain of I understand what they're saying, and it's just like, why do I think certain people are absolutely hilarious? It is because they tap into those vulnerabilities, they tap into those anxieties, and they're just honest.
Yeah,
and that's, I think, a really good comedian, successful comedian that just very funny because they tap into those things. And so, I mean, I did my debut, and I say debut because I'm hoping to do it again. It's not a one-time thing for me. And just the relief of that was just, I rode that high for a week. Getting up there and just expressing myself. Yeah. And just, obviously getting up there by yourself and talking to Mike and sort of saying, hey, I'm funny, even before you get up there. By signing up for that list, you're saying, hey, I'm funny.
Yep. No, take my word for it.
Yeah, right. It just, it's just such a great feeling. Again, just being vulnerable. You know, and that's something that I've realized in the, when I talk to people and like I notice some of the things they laugh at, it's just, I'm not trying to be funny. Like I'm just very honest about things.
It's funny what other people catch that you don't even know that you're doing or saying, which is, I love that feeling. Right. This isn't so much this is similar but not the same. But I had that when Josh, Ian, and I recorded the first podcast and I put it out online. Because I was super stoked, like just in general, like holy shit. Right. I listened to that thing, I swear I listened to it before it was even put online.
I was wondering how there was 30 listens already. I'm like, man, he already passed me an hour than more times than I get that's a month of a podcast.
No, I wasn't, funny enough, I was listening to it just on the file I had on my phone. Right. Over and over again before.
Well, that's what I do, and I was like, "Oh wait, I should be listening to this on SoundCloud right now."
Yeah, right. I know. No, but that's the funny thing because I loved it. I wasn't even thinking about other people listening to it or anything. Right. I was just in love with the fact that we did it, and then we put it online, and seriously, I'm not kidding. I was not hoping for much. I'm like, just 3 guys that are talking about a very niche thing that most of my friends don't even give a shit about.
Nerding out, really.
Yeah, I'm not expecting much. And then I remember it got up to about 25, and I was like, oh man, people are listening. This is great. Got up to about 45. I'm like, fuck, people are listening. Should I delete this? They shouldn't. I don't want it. And now it's up to, I think, 80 or something now, the first episode. And I'm like, why don't you stop? Come on.
Right.
Bring it on.
Refreshing it.
Yeah, come on.
Somehow you're going to get plus 5 listens like within that refresh.
Come on, I'm here. Yeah.
So. Now I always like celebrate. Like once I post it, I always like to celebrate. I hate to say it with a beer, but there's just that sense of victory.
Oh, absolutely.
Just like high five myself, and it's just like that's great.
Oh, totally.
It's a great feeling.
I've replaced any of my victory things with now I love orange soda.
Right.
Orange soda.
That's whatever it is. There's certain things like when I was done hiking in New Zealand, it was a ginger beer for me. Or the lemon Perara, lemon soda water stuff, which you can only get in New Zealand. Just, I cannot wait to taste that again. That would talk about invoking memories. Just like, wow.
No shit.
Triggering memories for sure.
Yeah.
But we should probably wrap this up for my sake.
Oh yeah,
I need to get back to things. I need to get back to life and reality.
Yeah.
What do you? So you're single. You've been single for a while.
Yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's great. Obviously, I was single forever.
I can actually finally say
because essentially, I never thought this would happen, but I may start living vicariously through other single people.
By all means,
because there's certain things that I miss about being single. And it's nothing that I don't think is insulting the relationship that I have or the person I'm in a relationship with. But, I said to you before about being spontaneous and not having to consider somebody else. Mm-hmm. Like, I appreciate the fact that I do have to consider somebody else, just because I think, again, it goes back to being more conscious and more aware of, what sort of consequences are your actions going to have, but, you sort of build on becoming a better person because you're more aware of, of your actions. Agree. But there's just certain little things that I miss kind of going with the flow of the day. And,
Well,
and I don't mean like, day drinking or things like that.
no,
It's just
I know
like,
exactly what you mean.
you're in a relaxed state and just the way the flow of a day goes. Some days
Mm-hmm.
you're just like, oh, that is just so fantastic.
I
And
gotta-
and it's the same thing like when I'm with my lady friend. But I think one of the things I miss the most is looking at my phone in bed at night.
I've never even thought about that.
Yeah, you can't. Even if you turn your screen down really low,
It's-
because I take, especially like if I've, been hanging out under the red lights. My brain is very active even when I go to bed. Like we had said, my brain maybe isn't ready to rest, and so I'm still taking notes in bed. And I've told her before, I'm like, I'm not like on social media, like I'm not texting other girls. Like I have to get this out of my brain because there's been so many times where I haven't acknowledged that thought. I haven't documented that thought and thought it important enough. Well, I did think it was important. I just was too lazy, or I'm just like, oh, I can't. But I'm just like, I'm sort of addicted to any sort of thought that comes to my head. Like some people are like, who are you texting? It's like, I'm not texting anybody. Like more times than not, I'm just taking notes in my phone.
Oh yeah.
And so
And
thankfully I've got a hall pass on that now. Like I can, that's acceptable,
at least there's that. No, live vicariously. Like I just gotta say, it's like I got locked into a monogamous state of mind like pretty early on. Like I was married by I was married at 22 or
Right.
something, divorced by 24. Like that was from a very long time that I was locked into that. And
Right.
then the time that I was single, I used most of that just drinking, partying, hanging out, and
Right.
not really actively trying to be. I don't know. It sounds weird, but it
Right.
was one of those things that now I'm like a lot of not energy, but like I'm actively single. Like
Right.
I don't want. I'm
Right.
not going to avoid anything.
Well,
that
that's
comes
kind
my
of
way,
what
but
it was always for me, and I knew I don't want to talk about relationships. I don't want to bore people.
But no, I know what you mean, and this is like it's
I want to talk
actually-
about being single because that
Hey.
excites me. No, just kidding, babe. Edit that out. Here's a 20.
Thank you.
I'm just kidding. No, it's just I don't know. Just again, just we talked about earlier about figuring out how did you get to this point. Even with this conversation, but also your life. Sitting back and like, I would have never thought I would live in Detroit at my age.
Right.
No
I never
shit.
thought
I would embrace that opportunity and love the piss out of it.
I still.
But I just, just with my relationship in and of itself, the way that's progressed, and just, I don't know. I'm thankful I was single for as long as I was, mostly because, pretty much because who I end up meeting meeting, but also those things that I was able to enjoy prior.
Yeah.
Like the life, like you said, life isn't supposed to be any certain way.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. And I'm so thankful that my life has been. It just is. It's not, I haven't forced, I don't think, too many things. And maybe that's my problem. Maybe that's why I'm 30-something and I'm working in the service industry. But I obviously I never thought that's the way my life would be, what it would become. But I wouldn't trade what my life has been for anything. Like, I'm just like, I cannot believe, like, I almost feel like I'm cheating the system because of the way I've lived my life.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously that's not, my lifestyle isn't for everybody. And the more I've accepted that, the way I'm more comfortable with myself, and like, so what if I do that? So like I'm not missing out on anything by, because I don't have a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
I'm not missing out on, I don't think, because this is just the way it's supposed to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and I'm thankful that I didn't put any kind of pressure, because I have friends that have put all kinds of pressure on themselves to do something like, I don't know, I don't want to say meaningless, but they think there's an ABC to life.
And they will.
There's a, A to B, like the hip bone's connected to the leg bone, that's the way they think life is supposed to be. And like, if that works for them, awesome.
I just don't think it has a lot of longevity.
Right?
Yeah.
The novelty wears off. Like, oh man, why?
It's so easy to get dialed into an idea that you're always working towards something, that there is an end game. There's a goal that you're working towards.
Right.
When, little goals are fine, then,
right.
Stuff like this. But there's no end game. Even if you get to the point where you got the house, the wife, the car, the kids, you got everything you've ever wanted, it still keeps going.
Right.
Yeah.
There's still,
And anything can and will happen.
Yeah.
It's just the way
That's
is.
why it's so amazing.
It
That's
is-
why life
it
is
is.
so amazing.
I have every reason in the world to look back on a lot of my 20s and be like, holy fuck,
Right.
I sucked and I'm an asshole and I'm terrible. I'm just choosing because, fuck it, fine, I'll admit that. But I'm also kind of choosing to look back at it and be like, I had more fun than I ever would have expected
Right.
out of not a long amount of time. And even if I got that shut down real quickly,
Right.
I am so happy. I loved looking around the room last night with the people who were there.
Right.
And individually or together or however
Right.
you want to group these people up,
Right.
the amount of memories that are sitting there in that
Well-
room, good, bad, and everything in between. And now we're just sitting there in a room, in a quiet room with nice music and candlelight and
Right.
just shooting
Not
shit.
but
Yes.
sometimes not even always shooting the shit, but still being comfortable with the silence.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny you say memories because I took a picture of you and Pete Fox last night, and I
what
just
a
started laughing because I instantly thought of when B Wheat, because we brought up B Wheat,
Uh-huh.
but when B Wheat came, and it's always the memory it always triggers is the guy, his bass player or something, blowing up the bathroom. See?
Yeah.
And I just thought to myself, like, I'm sorry, that memory brings me great joy,
Absolutely.
as it does you.
Yeah.
And it's something very childish, but I mean, it was also something you couldn't ignore.
Oh my
And then he
God.
got very defensive about it.
Oh, he got...
Which made it even
hyper-defensive.
more hilarious.
That was a fantastic
But then it
day.
also triggers the thought how his drummer cannot, for the life of him,
Finish that fucking song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you just see him sweating out tequila.
Oh, I know.
And it's just so. And then the awesome thing is the way my life has gone. Like B Weed is a good friend of mine now, and I just would have never thought when I did that session with him, what
I
sort of a
know.
relationship all of us would develop with him, and how much like Grand Rapids means to him now because I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, my buddy did the session, thought it'd be cool for me too. He comes and does it.
And all of a sudden,
All of a sudden, like
Yeah.
it's amazing.
you never know,
You know,
how much shit's going to
yeah.
happen. Yeah.
But I do know what's gonna happen right now. Unfortunately, I have to leave.
Yeah.
So,
No, I know. Yeah.
but let's see if we can
Hey.
do the high five. Yeah.
Not bad.
That was pretty good. I'll let you hook this up and do your thing.
I'll grab that and then I'll let you on the
Yeah.
road.
Adios, Key.
Eric, play us out.